What's cracking? Time to put another upgrade on the Jeep. Come take a look. This is my new rear bumper, the Smittybilt XRC that fits my model of Jeep, the Cherokee. Now this came this week. It was kind of a long time coming. A few months ago, I ordered one from Eclectic. It was out of stock, but they expected it to be in stock and ready to ship within about 2 weeks. It then went on sale, and so I called them to see if I could get the new sale price, and I didn't get through, and the next day it had gone back up. Overall, I had the order in for about 5 weeks, and then I canceled it. I canceled it because I found it at another vendor that said they had it in stock and for the same price that I had paid originally. So I canceled it with Eclectic. The cancellation processed, and I went to order it from the other company and found that they charge shipping. And I hadn't noticed that when I found it initially, and the shipping was $125. Which just, it wasn't worth ordering at that point. So I held off, decided to use some money for some other stuff, which I did. And then about 10 days ago, I started looking into it again and came across Eclectic is still back ordered. So they didn't have it. Funny thing, I plugged it into Amazon and it didn't come up. So then I just did a Google search for it and it came up, and a link took me back to Amazon. And that's where I found it for the same price as everybody else, but as a Prime member, it was free shipping. So I kind of had the itch at that point to get it done. I ordered it. It came within like 3 or 4 days. That box does not fit in my garage, and it won't even fit in the Jeep. And I don't want to leave it out here much longer. It's been here a couple of days already, and I don't want the HOA. I hate HOAs, but it's the situation I'm currently in. I don't want them to get upset about stuff being outside and looking tacky. So I'm going to work on getting this put on today. Let me show you something about what was the primary selling point for the Smittybilt bumper versus a different manufacturer. There are lots of bumpers that are pretty similar. Upgrades for the back. One thing they tend to all have in common is that at this corner they tend to slope, and that's for departure angle. What I don't like about those is that a lot of them leave this edge right here of the back of the body panel just exposed from about halfway down, which is 4 to 6 inches. And from this angle you can see the couple of holes where this attaches, and that just looked tacky to me. I didn't want that. The Smittybilt XRC does not do that. It covers the full panel. So that was the main selling point for this particular one. So with that said, we obviously have to remove the old one first. And this bumper does have a hitch integrated into it, which means that this tow package hitch needs to come off. So I was looking at this the other night, and my game plan is, first I would like to remove the brackets and the bumper at the same time, but because of the tow package, there's a couple bolts I just don't think I can get to, so I am going to have to do them separately. So I'm going to start with the bumper There's 2 bolts on either side, about right here, that should just let this come off. And then I should have pretty much easier access to get the brackets off. The toe package, there's 2 bolts on the back of the frame up here. Shouldn't be too bad. Really the main issue with the toe package is the, you can just see it right there, the hanger for the exhaust. Just a little bit rusty and not good access. So that's probably, right now I'm anticipating that hanger going to be the really kind of the biggest issue. And of course, I am going to have to remove the wiring. Let's start pulling things off. Actually, before I go at it, let's do our unboxing here. So ship weight on this was like 125 pounds. It is pretty hefty. I'm impressed the UPS guy actually put it here in front of my porch. He navigated around the Jeep, he or she, which was nice of them. Personally, I would have probably just left it alongside the Jeep, but anyway, it's on its side now, so let's roll this over. All right, and got some straps to cut here, and I just want to make sure before I dive in that I've got everything that I need. I'm supposed to have in this box: new brackets, hardware, of course the bumper, and this one also apparently has armor panels for that area right there, which Quadratech did not indicate was part of their package. Okay, here we go. All right, so we got the bumper here, obviously, and looks like everything else is here in the box. I'm gonna have to set you down to pull that out and just take a peek in it. I noticed the opening was already facing up, so I didn't have to pull it out. Let's see what we have here. Instructions, we'll take a quick glance at those. Looks like we've got our armor. I believe the brackets that come with this tie in with the frame, a unibody frame. And I think that's what I'm feeling right here. Yep. That checks out. All right, so I'm gonna cut you out again here and just make sure I have the hardware bolt stuff, which it's supposed to have, and then we'll get to pulling the old bumper off. Okay, so I decided to start with the tow package instead, because with that out of the way, I think I can get the bumper off without, let me restate that. I can get the bumper off and the brackets at the same time, which would be one less step. The tow package has 10 bolts holding it on. I've got 5 of them loose. 2 of them are up, as I said before, about where those 2 dots are, and they are at Torx 50. And I can't quite get the Torx in there on the socket because the gas tank is kind of in the way. So I'm trying to figure out my way around that. But in the meantime, I started working on the 5 that are along each side here. And in working on the furthest one. You can see back there, I did get it loose, but it tweaked my 1/2 inch extension. And now this doesn't have the power to get the 3 remaining ones broke loose. So I think I'm gonna have to run down to Ye Old Harbor Freight and grab a new one. There's a really nice set I found on Amazon that I like, but I can't wait a day or two for it to get here. So in light of that, I think I've got a quick errand to run. All right, here's what we got from Ye Old Harbor Freight. I found pretty much the same set as I had on Amazon. 4-piece, 1/2 inch drive, lengths different by 1/2 inch to 1 inch, but all the same pieces otherwise. A couple dollars difference, a little more expensive, but why not? And then I was not planning on these, but I did find some impact worthy swivels, so I grabbed those. They were just a couple bucks. So let's see if this gets us back in business. I am now aware of a new problem. I have flared out my 18mm socket. This is impact rated, but you can see around this top rim, you can see the thick points, and it's flared out around that, and now it's getting too loose. I'm running the risk of stripping my bolts. Fortunately, I have a backup in a deep socket. The sad part to that, however, is that those are 3/8 instead of 1/2 inch. Well, I broke my adapter, as you can see, 2 pieces right there. That makes the 3rd impact tool for the day. However, I did manage with this setup using a regular adapter. I was able to get all 4, or the remaining 3 of the bolts to break loose. So that leaves me on the tow package with just the 2 bolts up here that are the Torx 50. I can get in there with this 3/8 breaker bar, but I don't have the leverage to break them loose, and I'm skeptical, even if I did, that the teeth would endure. So I've half a mind to just throw a metal blade on my recip saw and just cut the heads of those off, because I'm not gonna need them again. All right, all the bolts are out on the driver's side, and in my rummaging around, I came across this blade. I'm pretty sure it came with the recip saw, and it is specifically for thick metal. So as long as I can reach that up there, that should be perfect for cutting those other 2 heads off. All right, I just got back from the store again. This blade worked really quite well. I got through about 80 to 90% of the first bolt, and then decided to go to the other one and did not make very much progress. And I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but the teeth in the area right here, they're just worn down. Not terribly surprising. So I had to go get a new blade. So I ran down to Lowe's. The first one I picked out was this Lennox. This one just had much more aggressive teeth, so I thought that's what I wanted. All right, this Lennox blade did fantastic. Not quite like a hot knife through butter, but for lack of a better phrase, it went through that second bolt all the way, got a really nice clean cut, and finished off the first one. So, and looking at the teeth, they did obviously get a little bit hot. You can see the color marks, but they are still intact, and it is still cutting fantastic. So that was definitely worth the 12 bucks. Got all the bolts out, and on the first one, it's being held on by just a sliver right through the middle. Really no tensile strength to it at all, as far as I believe. So I've put the hitch in upside down, and I'm going to use this for leverage, see if I can just torque it back and forth, break that one off, and I think we'll be done with this. So you can see that's moving on both sides, it's pivoting. I think it's just that one bolt that's still holding it on. All right. I'm gonna get a little loud, but I'm gonna see if I can persuade it a bit. Might have to grab a chisel and finish that bolt off. Okay, I'm going to try to do this by feel. I don't want to get underneath there because this just isn't stable enough. I don't want it coming down on me, so. There's what's left. So, okay. Now that that's out of the way, I can feel that there's a little bit of flange still on the outside where I just didn't get quite as flush a cut. It's very thin, but I think that is enough to hold it up a little bit. On the other side, the washer totally came off, so we know that that one's cut. So if I can get the washer off now, we should be good to go. Let's see if I can get this chisel up behind it. Move it? I did. All right. I'm not getting behind the washer, I'm getting right on it, but I did get it to move, so we're not bad for being fairly blind back here. All right, with that loose, let's give this another go. There's really not much holding that on. There's the other washer. Okay. And we are off of that bolt. This thing should. Okay. We're loose. Get this out. It's that much less weight to contend with. Now, see if we can pull this out. So, got a little bit of a conundrum here. This is hanging up on the shackle bolts on both sides. I need it to go just a smidgen lower to get out. What I think I'm going to do is take the nut off of the shackle bolt, slide it out just enough for it to clear on both sides, get this out, and then of course put those back in. So I'm gonna turn the video off for now. I'll bring you back when I have it off. Alrighty, got it. I only had to take the one side out, and then once I got that side down, the rest of it just slid off. So the toe package is off. Now I'm gonna get that bolt back in, and then with this out of the way, I think I can access the bracket bolts for of course the brackets and the bumper. So we'll go after that next. That's all the junk that came off of this side. Some of it. Nope, that's like, yeah, that's some of that I think might be filler, because the bolts for the exhaust were through this side, which means I need to track those down. Let me take a look for those. But I kind of think that maybe they put a little spacer for those bolts. Yeah, we'll see, because they are not there now. All right, I found them. This is an external piece, but you can see it's arched, but I don't think it needs to be, because these are riveted in. I think this is some kind of scale or rust buildup has forced that down. So I may scrape that off and hit it with the hammer a few times and flatten it back out, because this does go on the bottom side, so it shouldn't impact the new bumper at all. Well, I may be needing a new one. That's clearly rusted all the way through. That's not got a lot of integrity to it at all. Okay. I got it at long last, with one casualty. I broke that bolt off right there, and after I broke that one, I was working on this one, and partway through I realized that I was tightening instead of loosening, and that's why I broke that one off. So I hope that's not going to be a problem. Since I do have it moving, I think an easy out probably would do it, but I've never had good success with those, although I now have a good set, not just a cheap set, so that could make a difference. But let's go see how the new one goes on, because it does have brackets that utilize these nut strips, and I'll take these old ones out and put new ones in because it came with them. But let's see how that hooks up, and we will take it from there. So here's how the new brackets mount. There is a nut strip that attaches 3 bolts, and then the 4 bolts attach here, which means that I do need to get that bolt out. That broken one. So I've got my tap or easy out set here. This will be its first use, and hopefully, since I did have it moving, it will come out easily. Well, sadly, that was unsuccessful. Broke my easy out in there. Actually drilled through the bolt relatively easy. I should have probably just kept going with that and thinned it out. But I tried the easy out and broke it. That's hardened steel, so I'm not going to be able to drill through that. Definitely not straight. So I'm just going to run 3 bolts on this one side. The thing that bothers me most about that is purely just my OCD. But for what I expect this bumper to go through and the loads it'll have on it, I don't think the 1 bolt's going to be that significant in the strength category. So let's just move on. Turns out there is some old hardware that you have to reuse, and that is the 4 bolts that go here. Mine are a little bit, rusty, as you can see, not uncommon nor unexpected, but I'm going to hit them with the bronze brush and just clean them up a little bit, mostly just so they're easier to put in. All right, brackets are installed and torqued down. Hopefully I won't have to adjust, but the instruction said to torque them down, and the measurement from inside to inside should be just under 34 inches. I'm at 33 3/4. So I'm meeting that parameter, and got my lights run through right here. The next step is to get the bumper up in place, and we'll see if I can do this all by me onesie. It supposedly weighs about 100 pounds, so I'm not sure I'll be able to do it by myself, but we'll try. Okay, I did have to move this one out a smidgen more than 1/8 of an inch, so maybe like 3/16, and it pretty much centered the bolts. So now they're centered on both sides. I've got it cinched back down, so the brackets are now set. They fit the bumper, and next thing to do is to get the bumper in place. So you use the shorter bolts. They have 1.5 inch, and these are like 1 1/4. You can clearly see the difference just from looking at them when they're next to each other. The 1.5 inch are the ones that go along here through the frame into the nut seam, like those. And these shorter ones go through one of these 3 holes, 1 in each, into corresponding areas in the bumper, which have nuts welded on the other side. So all you have to do is get this in place and get them started. So this thing is heavy, but it is manageable. Let's get it up in place and see if leveling is going to be an issue. Okay, right now I've got it snug on each end up against the body. And overall, I'm liking how it fits and how it looks. Let's see if we can find the I'm gonna start with the other side because the exhaust is in the way over here. If I can get some started so that I know it won't come off, then I'll get under where I can see. Okay, this high jack access point makes it a nice little peephole to see inside, and right now what I can see is that the holes are not lined up. So which direction are they off? Okay. All right, I can just see it. Needs to go forward that way. There we go. Okay, and now, if I can, it needs to go down. Okay, I figured it out. I was looking at the wrong piece. It wasn't the bracket that was too low, it was the bumper. So I got the other side, I've got the 3 bolts in, just lift the bumper up a little bit and get them started. So that's what I'm gonna do now on this side. I think I still need to go. Oop. Now I know I need to go up. There. All right. One thing I've noticed about these holes, especially on the other side, is that it seems like they may have some powder coat in them. So if you have the means, you may want to run a tap through them, just clean them out a little bit. All right, I gotta grab the light. I've got one started, the other 2 not wanting to. Again, it seems like the threads are a little gummed up, perhaps from some powder coat. Yeah, these three are sinking in, so I think I'm there. I'm gonna drive them in most of the way, leave them a little bit loose, and then it says to level it after that. I don't know a good way to do that other than to use the good old micrometer. But we are installed, everything's tightened up. How I ended up leveling it is I came over here to the side panel and lined up these bends right here. This one's smidgen low, but this one is a smidgen high, so kind of balanced out. And then lined up the gap. This one a little wider at the top than the bottom. I think that's a twist in the bumper itself because this side is really quite even. So it lines up well coming off the light. As you can see, this one's lined up also with the bends. I did it on both sides. So it is installed. Now, what I have to do is put on the light access. And I think for that, I'll probably go about right here on the bottom. I wanted it to be someplace that if I scraped some rocks or something, it wouldn't break it or tear it up. I think if I went right here, that'd be close enough to the hitch that the hitch will actually catch the brunt of anything, and that this isn't really going to encounter any damage. But it is 11 o'clock at night, and I'm not going to drill it now out of respect for my neighbors who are mostly all asleep. So I'm gonna save that for tomorrow. I did forget to put on one thing. This bracket to attach the exhaust at the back. Clearly I need a new one. It's completely rusted through right there, and I pushed on it a little bit in this area. This whole thing's all rotted out. Here are the what remains of the cut off or broken bolts. And here is the tally of ruined tools on this project. So the 18-inch flared the top, you can see. The adapter broke, the other piece is right there. My 15, I stripped. That's when I was cranking the wrong direction on the one side, and then the extension, you can see that twisted the top. That's a break waiting to happen. Not even gonna try to use it, so these are going right in the garbage. All right, it's the next day. I've got just a couple things to do here to button up. Hopefully take me about an hour or so. Number one, I remembered this morning when I got up that I forgot to put these two screws in. These are self-tapping Phillips screws, and they reattach part of the filler neck, the gas filler dust cover, back up. And so I just need to grab the drill and a long Phillips bit, drive those home. That's quick and easy. So, and then I also got a new bracket ordered for the exhaust hanger. It was 15-16 bucks. It had a couple of knocks on it for not having any sort of cover on it, and people said it's just gonna rust. Get an OEM one. And my thought was, well, my OEM one completely rusted out, so it probably didn't have much on it either. Anyway, I'll probably button this video up and post it before that comes. That'll be here tomorrow, but that's pretty straightforward. I don't feel a need to add that onto this. So the last thing that we need to do is drill a hole right in here for the trailer light plug to go into. And then I should have, when I disconnected the old one, marked the wires, which one was which, because they are not traditional colors. I didn't. I just lack of patience is all that comes down to. So I am going to have to do a little bit of testing and figure out which wire is which. I do have 6 wires. One was not hooked up. That one's capped off, so I don't need to worry about that one. And I do remember the brake one, which was red, that was right in the middle. So I only have 4 that I have to figure out. Once I get the ground, the others will be easy. So let's, one other thing I'm gonna do with those, I am gonna trim up those wires and solder the end, because it makes for a cleaner, better connection to the new plug. So I've got my soldering stuff nearby. I may also put some shrink wrap on the wire. We'll see how it works out. Now let's get to it. So I was thinking of putting this black one on because I like the idea of the black on black, that hiding. But as I've been looking at it, I just realized that it's all plastic, even the housing. And I like the idea of metal better for this particular application. So maybe what I'll do is just grab my can of spray paint and just turn the outside of this black real quick. I think I will. These Milwaukee hole dozer bits, hole cutters, are awesome. I use the 1 1/4 inch punch through pretty well. I'm gonna grab a round file, just clean that up, kind of deburr it a little bit, and then I'll hit that with a little bit of Rust Reformer paint, which is the same paint I just put on that. That's looking great. I'm happy with it. And we are done. This is what it looks like with the ball hitch in. Got the wiring hookup down here. I got that all sorted out. So it turns out that I have 7 wires running back here, but the one that runs trailer brakes is apparently not connected to anything because I was getting no response on that. So probably because I don't have a trailer brake controller, I'm guessing that's what that is. So, and then the other one was backup lights, which I don't have. So anyway, I've got the 5 hooked up that are necessary. This is what it looks like with the hitch in, very sturdy, and I'm happy.